The atmosphere around Jungkook and Jimin shifted abruptly after Lisbon, triggering a wave of unease and fascination among ARMY worldwide, because what followed their intense schedules was not another public appearance, but growing indications of a carefully planned romantic getaway, raising one unavoidable question: why now, and what does this moment truly represent? The rumor did not surface as a loud headline or reckless claim, but as a quiet accumulation of consistent signals that felt too aligned to ignore. After days filled with rigid itineraries, tightly controlled movements, and relentless public scrutiny in Lisbon, the sudden change in pace became impossible to overlook. Fans who closely observed their movements sensed that something had softened, as if the pressure of obligation had momentarily loosened its grip. Lisbon itself became a critical backdrop in this narrative. Known for its unhurried rhythm and reflective charm, the city hosted Jungkook and Jimin during a period of visibly demanding commitments. Their schedules were dense, leaving little room for spontaneity. Yet between official moments, subtle interactions emerged, unscripted glances, relaxed posture, and a synchrony that suggested emotional ease rather than professional performance. These details, though small, resonated deeply with those familiar with their long-standing dynamic. For ARMY, such moments rarely feel accidental. They are read as indicators of trust, comfort, and shared emotional space built over years of collaboration and personal growth. The idea of a romantic getaway, in this context, does not imply spectacle or extravagance. Instead, it aligns with a far more grounded interpretation: recovery. Both Jungkook and Jimin have carried immense expectations for years, not only as global artists but as symbols of consistency and excellence. The notion that they might intentionally step away together after Lisbon reflects something profoundly human: the need to pause. Sources close to the situation emphasize restraint in their descriptions. There are no exaggerated claims about destinations or activities, no breach of boundaries, only a shared understanding that rest is not indulgence but necessity. What intensifies public reaction is not the rumor itself, but its plausibility. Jungkook's reputation for relentless energy and Jimin's emotionally attentive presence have long created a balance that fans recognize instantly. When placed side by side, that balance becomes more pronounced. A quiet escape, even briefly, would serve as a natural extension of that dynamic rather than a dramatic departure from it. This is why the story has spread with such force. Not because it shocks, but because it makes sense. ARMY's response reflects a complex blend of excitement and protectiveness. Rather than demanding confirmation, many fans have expressed hope that if such a getaway does occur, it remains private and restorative. There is a collective awareness that constant visibility comes at a cost, and that sustainable artistry depends on moments unseen by cameras. In this way, the narrative has shifted away from speculation and toward reflection. It asks not what Jungkook and Jimin owe the public, but what they owe themselves after years of uninterrupted output. Lisbon's quiet streets, warm light, and contemplative atmosphere seem almost symbolic in hindsight. It was a place where intensity met stillness, where obligation gave way, if only slightly, to intention. Whether the rumored getaway materializes or remains an unfulfilled plan, its significance lies elsewhere. It represents a broader acknowledgement that rest, companionship, and emotional grounding are essential components of longevity, not interruptions to success. As the conversation continues, one principle remains central: interest must not eclipse respect. The power of this story comes from its restraint, from what is suggested rather than exposed. It invites audiences to slow down, to consider context, and to support from a distance that honors personal boundaries. In an industry driven by constant output and visibility, even the possibility of a quiet pause feels radical. In the end, ARMY's inability to stay calm is not rooted in scandal, but in care. Care for two individuals who have given consistently and who may now be choosing, together, to briefly step away from the noise. That choice, rumored yet resonant, is what makes this moment linger long after Lisbon fades from view. What happens next is where this story demands something more from its audience. Not excitement, not blind belief, but reflection. As the rumor of a romantic getaway continues to circulate, One uncomfortable but necessary question emerges. Are we witnessing a genuine moment shaped by context and behavior, or are we consuming a narrative carefully amplified by the machinery of modern media culture? In an era where a single clip can spark global discourse within minutes, the boundary between observation and interpretation grows increasingly fragile. The signals that feel convincing to some may appear circumstantial to others. And that tension is precisely where critical thinking becomes essential. It is worth pausing to examine how this narrative has been constructed. Much of the discussion surrounding Jungkook and Jimin's alleged plans does not originate from official statements, but from fragmented content across platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and other digital media spaces. Short videos, slowed-down footage, speculative captions, and emotionally charged commentary have shaped perception at remarkable speed. But does repetition across platforms equal verification? Or does it simply reflect how algorithms reward engagement over accuracy? These are not accusations, but questions that deserve to be asked before conclusions are drawn. The emotional response from ARMY is understandable. Years of following Jungkook and Jimin have trained fans to read subtlety, to notice tone, body language, and unspoken dynamics. Yet familiarity can be a double-edged sword. When does attentive observation turn into projection? When does interpretation become assumption? The risk lies not in caring deeply, but in allowing emotional closeness to override analytical distance. If this rumored getaway feels real, is it because evidence is strong, or because the idea itself feels comforting and desirable? At the same time, dismissing the story entirely as fabrication may also be too simplistic. Media narratives do not emerge in a vacuum. They often reflect genuine moments filtered through imperfect channels. Busy schedules in Lisbon are verifiable. Visible exhaustion is observable. The human need for rest is undeniable. From that perspective, the idea of a planned break is not inherently sensational. It is logical. But logic alone does not confirm reality. Between plausibility and proof lies a gap that only verified information can bridge. This is where skepticism plays a constructive role. Skepticism does not mean cynicism. It means discipline. It means asking whether this article, this discussion, or this script is presenting facts, interpretations, or a blend of both. It means recognizing that emotionally resonant language can coexist with uncertainty. Provocatively, one might ask, if this same story involved different names, would it carry the same weight? Or does the emotional history attached to Jungkook and Jimin amplify belief beyond evidence? The modern media ecosystem thrives on momentum. Once a narrative gains traction, it sustains itself through reaction videos, speculative threads, and commentary loops. Each layer adds confidence, even if the foundational information remains unverified. That does not automatically render the story false, but it does demand caution. Before sharing, reacting, or defending a narrative, audiences must ask themselves, am I responding to confirmed information or to a collective emotional wave? Perhaps the most responsible stance lies somewhere in between belief and dismissal. It is possible to acknowledge the warmth of this story while holding space for uncertainty. It is possible to feel relieved at the thought of rest for two overworked artists while still questioning the source of that belief. This balanced position, empathetic yet critical, is often the hardest to maintain, especially in fan-driven spaces where emotions run high. Ultimately, this moment invites a broader reflection on how stories are consumed and spread. Are we engaging with information thoughtfully or reflexively? Do we differentiate between verified reporting and algorithm-driven speculation? And most importantly, do we allow room for doubt without stripping away humanity? The rumored getaway may be real, partially true, or entirely misinterpreted. At this stage, no definitive answer exists, and that uncertainty should not be feared.